Again, whatever. Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, special edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, Survivor Series reactions, because some crazy shit went down last night in Chicago, and, I got to talk about it, but I can't just talk about it by myself. You can't have Survivor Series reactions without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
You're muted.
Oh, it's messing up so much. It's so glitchy.
It is glitchy. Very glitchy. As we
It
saw.
must just be StreamYard, because if it's happening to both of us, then it must be.
I think it is.
The rest of my internet is fine. It's
mine's. We're cruising over here in the cave. How we doing? What's popping?
Doing okay.
Anything in particular you want to talk about? Not much going on, really.
No.
Really slow news day in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy happened at the end of Survivor Series last night. Nothing really crazy went on during the show. No, I'm completely lying. That was Sara. I really wish I got to watch that live. I'll be whatever you call it, transparent, is that like I couldn't watch it live, personal reasons, and you texting me what happened, I was like, oh, I need to go home. So I did my little Irish goodbye thing. Yeah, the good little segue here, Sara, because I did my little Irish goodbye thing, went to go home and watch, but fell asleep. First thing we did in the morning was watch it, and boy howdy, wow, that's all I really have to say.
I was gonna text you to be like, no Punk, because like they Randy comes out, whatever, they win, and then they even like were ending the show. And
the
so
trademark, the watermark.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, I felt like something was up, but before I get into that, I was gonna text you and be like, okay, like no Punk, whatever. And then his music hit, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And then it was like, no, you could tell like everyone freaked out about the music, but then it was like it didn't hit until you saw him, because it was like, this is WWE we're talking about. We're in Chicago. They heard you chanting his name all night long. And so I wouldn't not have been surprised if they trolled or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's funny because you can hear it in the crowd too. Like you can hear it all pick up once they see him. But I felt like something was up, and I didn't know that it was necessarily going to be Punk. I just felt like something was going to happen because they were staying on air. And even though they had put up the copyright, trademark, whatever in the corner, Cole was like still talking, and it just felt really awkward because I was like, okay, they should have like cut it by now. So I didn't know. I was like, okay, is Punk coming out? Is Randy gonna do something? Because I had suspected that maybe Randy was going to like RKO,
and they teased it in the match a little bit,
right?
Teased it in the match. We'll get to,
so I was like, okay, maybe they're waiting until the end, like something, I don't know. And so then when Punk came out, I was like, okay, I knew it had to be something because it just felt so unfinished. Like it felt weird. I don't know.
AJ Brown touchdown, by the way. Sorry.
Okay, thank
I knew you'd like that little.
Thank you, football gods.
Yeah, that was huge. Needed that. Yes, I still had goosebumps, and I knew it was happening. It was all spoiled. That was spoiled for me. Didn't care. Kind of figured that was going to happen anyways.
You have to tell people you wanted me to spoil it. So.
Oh yeah, no, that was the one spoiler I did want.
I was like, I wasn't being a jerk. Like,
no.
Like,
I'll disclaim. I'll absolutely put a disclaimer there that I think it's on record actually in the archives in the last stream that I said that the only thing I want you to really spoil for me is CM Punk.
Yeah.
Because as things happened last night, it was getting late at where I was, and you know how you need a little kind of like push or reason to go.
Yeah.
And once I saw that, I was like, all right, it's like whatever o'clock. I've been up since 4, time for bed, and that. But no, I wanted you to spoil for me because the only thing that really, I don't know, I just wanted you to spoil for me. That's beside the point. But my point I was going to make before Adrian Brown scored a touchdown, the way they did it, I thought was very well done. And I know you may disagree with this, but I don't think it overshadowed the War Games match. I think it was like if you're thinking of a band and a concert, like an encore performance. The match was done. They got their hands up. Cody's music's hitting. You got the watermark right there, and you're panning out. Now, this is where it got interesting, is how they panned out with the watermark. The final shot of any pay-per-view, as you obviously know, but the peeps may not, should be the watermark and the protagonist, antagonist, whatever, on camera, on the shot. But they were panning up and just panning up and up.
Mm-hmm.
So you could tell they were trying to get the screen. And then once his music hit, the visual comes up. I kept goosebumps kind of talking about it. I have not heard a crowd that loud. I can't really tell you how long. Like, that was the loudest crowd pop I've heard in years.
I wouldn't say years. I would say we want to talk about earlier this year. Sami Zayn. Was it earlier this year when Sami turned on Roman? That was loud.
Oh, all right.
So I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it was a very loud response.
Absurd.
But fortunately, we're like in a good era of WWE right now, so it actually hasn't been that long, which is nice because normally it would be like, oh my god, when's the last time? I'm kind of conflicted on how I feel that it went down. I think that it was best, I guess, to save it for the end of the show because it didn't feel like it made sense anywhere else. And that's why we were saying that if he was going to returning at Survivor Series didn't make sense just because there was nothing for him to do. There was like no one that he had a feud with, because we're talking almost 10 years ago, because people are like, it's 9 years. I'm like, he was around WrestleMania the year he left, and then he left. So it's like, it's almost 10 years. So it's not even like we could be like, oh, well, he was feuding with so-and-so back then. Maybe that is like, no, like that was way too long ago. No one cares. No one remembers. But I think, I think the part where I would say it's a little problematic is just because of how they went about Randy's return, which I thought was just kind of weird. Which we can talk about when we talk about Randy. But I think, there are people online who do feel that either one, it completely overshadowed Randy's return, and two, there are a lot of people who are saying no one cares that Randy's back now because Punk's back, which I'm like, please tell me you're like 12 years old, because if you really are trying to say that no one cares about Randy being back, like, no, like Punk coming back, that's something that
massive. It's incredible.
It's massive because he said he would never come back. But also Randy isn't just like nothing. You know what I mean? He was gone for a year and a half. It's like he's an absolute legend. We can't act like that doesn't matter. But
no, exactly.
This was insane, though. Like it's like you knew it was gonna happen, but you didn't know.
It was the best game played between WWE and its fans. And not even WWE and its fans, WWE and wrestling fans. It was probably one of the best. I don't even know how to describe it because it was just
best kept secret.
Months. Yeah,
it wasn't
best kept secret.
It wasn't months. It wasn't months.
What do you mean it wasn't months?
Months of a secret? It wasn't.
Well, when was Wembley?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, Triple H said it was like super last minute, like thrown together. Like it has not been something they've sat on for months. Like there are people who think that it might have happened. Like, oh, I know, but that's not true though, because people were making up things. First of all, thinking that it had anything to do with Punk. That's not true. Like the X and the Judgment Day like hangout.
That's what I mean.
That stuff is not true, though. That's not a Punk reference. That's a Finn Balor reference.
It's not. I know. So, I'm saying it's the best. Yeah. keep going.
I'm just confirming that Triple H literally just said in the press conference that this was something that happened last minute. This wasn't something that, oh, we were immediately in contact with him the second he left AEW. It was like, no, this was like possibly within the last few days.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying all of those hints that people were talking about were not hints. That was just they were looking into things, trying to create things. Because if this came in within the last couple days, and which we'll talk about now, I guess, Triple H also essentially confirmed that nobody but him and Nick Khan knew that Punk was returning. Not even the guys in the War Games match had any idea. From what I was reading is Triple H came into Gorilla, cleared it out, told them to put the copyright trademark thing on there, and then he's the one who told them to play Punk's music. None of them knew.
So badass.
So that's
So
what I'm saying. Like, if they're the only people who knew, nobody was sending out or putting out purposeful hints at a Punk return.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, people acting, no, that's not true. So that's why when we look at Seth Rollins and his reaction, which I don't know if people saw, there was that one picture going around of him just looking like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And then there's that video of him, and being like, get the F out of here, blah, blah, blah. The second I get in the back, I'm going to like knock him the F out, like all this stuff. And so it really starts to make you wonder how legitimate this was. Because if you know the history, I don't know that many people really know what the history between them is or what the foundation of their beef is, but we know that Seth has not been one to hide his disdain for Punk. I mean, he even just said it before this Mania or last WrestleMania in an interview.
We don't want you.
That Punk, that they don't want him back and whatever. So that's why it seems like this moment was very out of character for Seth, and the fact he was dropping F-bombs like in front of a live crowd. It's like, okay, this has to be legit, right? Then you hear Triple H being like, yeah, like we're the only ones who knew. So it's like, okay, so Seth went into this blind. He didn't know. None of those other guys knew. So that makes it seem like it's real. But then I feel like Seth is more of a professional than that. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to believe that he would have behaved that way in front of so many people if it wasn't a work. Like, I'm so torn. Like, I don't know what it is. And there's and dirt sheets and stuff, like, they're not really getting a real answer. And now it's like, some people are calling them into question because they didn't get the definitive answer about Punk. So now it's like, okay, well, how much are you actually being told? So then the information you are being told, how legitimate is it? Because they wanted to keep this secret. So I think this is going to be something that's going to, like, we're going to want to monitor this. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Seth's reaction was completely 100% real.
I'd be shocked if it was a complete work. Like he was just doing it because he knows of he's pissed. This is gonna sound really mean, but I just don't like their reactions. Like, they should have those reactions if they have these feelings with those guys and whatnot.
Did you see Randy?
Oh, the wave.
The wave, and Punk is like, hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, long time no see.
Like that, like, from a business standpoint, this is probably one of the better decisions Triple H has made so far, is bringing him back. And I know a lot of people are even in the comments here saying that, odds, I think David even has one. Yeah, here it is. Over under that Punk lasts a year. And here's my thing. It's a different ball game, night and day, between WWE and AEW. Punk in AEW, like, he was WWE bred, and then Ring of, like, he's just old school, and it just doesn't work. Like, and I could go into whatever, but it didn't work. Like, WWE now is a much more controlled environment. You can do your own thing. We've seen guys be like part-timers, still get TV time, all this stuff, and they have, I wouldn't say like creative control over their character, but they can do something without having a title in their hand. It's pretty much
Yeah.
And with Punk, like, he's an attraction. Like, CM Punk sells tickets wherever the man goes.
Well, that's why
Just
they
look at the
already
reaction.
announced that he was going to be on Raw, that
He's
him and
gonna be
Randy were
on
going to be
Raw.
on Raw. So they're like, okay, sell those tickets. Like,
Like
Yeah.
it's a fantastic business decision that the fact that Triple H pulled this off, this feels like Vince Eric Bischoff all over again. But this is
I,
Triple H's first hell
yeah.
is frozen over moment.
Mhm.
Couldn't have came at a better time with the signing of CM Punk, the most polarizing figure in
Yeah.
wrestling.
I think it's fair to question like how long he'll actually last, just because we know how his last tenure with WWE ended, and then obviously it was only a couple months ago that he was let go from AEW, and we know his entire time in AEW was not a smooth sailing. So I think that's why it's like easy to question, and I think some people might be a little bit iffy about it, because I'm sure some of his fans too are like, well, okay, I don't want to get like too invested, because what if this is too good to be true? What if it doesn't last long, right? But I do agree with you. I think that WWE is where he needs to be. I would say maybe even TNA, but I don't know as much about
He's
their
too big for TNA.
well, but I just you'll know what I mean in a second.
Okay.
I think it's a constant criticism about AEW, and it's going to be until Tony change it, is that there's not enough like stability back. Like it's like Tony wants to do everything, but he doesn't have the pieces around him to like keep dudes like this in check and like not let things get out of control. And that's why we hear so many stories all the time about stuff that's going on behind the scenes in AEW. It's because they just don't have the same like business model or whatever. They just not built the same. Granted, they're vastly different companies, obviously, especially because AEW is so new. But there are so many people that work at WWE that are at shows every single week, even at house shows. Like, there's going to be way too many people around Punk constantly for him to get away with this kind of stuff. And I think there was some people saying, like insiders, whatever, that claimed Punk and Triple H did have a lengthy conversation. And I feel like that is something I think I mentioned on here before, that it was going to have to be something like that, because allegedly Punk still had some beef with Triple H stemming from however many years ago. And now that Triple H is in a completely different space in his life, just like he said in the press conference last night, and Punk is as well, that they're different people, that they've grown in whatever, like they had to have some sort of like meeting of the worlds to like figure out what this was going to be. And I'm not a Punk fan by any means, but I do think that I mean, it's hard to say, but I would assume that Triple H probably laid down the law pretty harshly to him. And I'm sure that Punk in some way is aware that if he messes this opportunity up, like he's done. He's not going back to AEW. WWE ain't bringing you back if you mess this one up. And why are you who's going to take you anywhere else? Because it's going to be like the two top companies, the most talked about companies, don't want you, kicked you to the curb, no matter how much money you were bringing in. Why are they going to? So I would like to think, as just as a fan of professional wrestling that happens to be WWE, that he's going to understand the significance that this is, because like nobody could have done anything with you after what happened in AEW, but WWE is like, okay, we're going to take a chance on you, that he's not going to mess it up. And he's going to be the type of veteran that comes in and like what John Cena had been doing, like putting over the younger guys and not doing that, and like not getting this like big headed ego thing that he allegedly had in AEW. It's like, no, you have a good opportunity here and you couldn't have come back at a better point as far as in WWE. And it's like, don't mess it up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Triple H was like letting that be known, because man.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And the one question I want to put out there to you, and even the comments as well, but do you think Tony Khan just didn't know how to manage a guy like CM Punk? Because to me, CM Punk was the biggest name and personality, pun intended, if you want, that AEW has brought in. And with how new they are, they're still new. They're 3 years. They've only been around. and with the, we'll say, limited resources they have backstage, whatnot, do you think he just didn't know how to handle him and didn't have
I
a guy that like could reign in Punk?
I
Where
think
you
that's
have
what it
WWE,
is.
it's all of them.
I think that's what it is, but then also it's like and I feel like that's something that they keep running into. Like that's why there have been these other issues, but I think it's also like most of their like most of the people that work with Tony are fellow wrestlers who are currently employed by the company and wrestling on TV every week. And so like we all know that if you are a wrestler, you have an ego, you are somewhat narcissistic because obviously you're
Have to be.
fighting for yourself to get on TV.
Yeah.
And so I think that because that is going to be an immediate clash, like Punk is going to go out there and obviously we know that from what we've heard, he can be kind of toxic. But I think all of these guys can be toxic at some point because they're competitive. They're all trying to get on TV. They're trying to be the most liked, sell the tickets, sell the most merch, whatever. And I think that's part of the problem with Tony is that he doesn't have a lot of experience really at all. He's learning every single day how to run a wrestling company.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that knowledge in him the way that like Triple H does and Nick Khan and like all of the people that work around in WWE where they understand the type of personality, ego, and everything that comes with a wrestler because they've seen the best and worst of them. And I think that's what's problematic in AEW because like they give them too much reign, they give them too much power, too much say so, and they don't have the right people in place to shut it down, tell them no, tell them to calm down, whatever. And I think that's part of the problem with Punk is like, I mean, they gave him a Saturday show. You know what I mean?
They
like
literally made Collision for
yeah,
CM Punk.
yeah,
And now it's like, all right, whoever wants to step up and make it their show, go
yeah.
for it. I mean,
But
right
that's
now it's
like
freaking Edge's show.
that's like
Honestly, it's
the
Edge's show.
epitome of why it's a problem though, because you can't present somebody an entree, this beautiful meal, and then as they're about to take a plate, you take it away.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
can't give them all this power and then try to take it away from them when it's like, oh wait, no, now you've gone too far. It's like, okay, there needed to be a balance before that. You can't do that. And so I mean, we are never going to know all the ins and outs of what exactly happened with Punk and AEW. We just hear, Tony talking about how he feared for his life and stuff like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
And the
it's
Twitter stuff, really. That's
it's
the
just
one difference now, that now the Punk is back in WWE, and you can say, all right, well, is it going to work? How do you know how do you know it is going to work? And at least one sign is you don't see Triple H tweeting away about AEW or really anything. He's not.
right.
He's too
Yes.
busy running the company. And I
And
like Tony Khan. I do, but to go on Twitter rants like that is very childish. That's what I did when I was 14 when my parents
I
would let me
know.
watch Jersey Shore. You go on
Yeah.
Twitter, you go on
Well,
Facebook, and you vent about it,
I
but
just
not.
wanted to see if the cabs were here.
I wanted to know what the situation was doing.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're doing that as an owner of a company, it really has a negative
Yes.
connotation to not only you, but or a bad reflection for the company itself.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. It's like Triple H, yeah, he got on Twitter immediately and posted that picture with Punk, which he does every single time
That's
someone
smart.
debuts.
That is brilliant. That's
And
different.
the, hell is whatever he said, hell
Mighty cold day in hell.
It's like that was based off of stuff Punk had said. You know what I mean? Like he could
And
have
it's
very
cliche.
easily, huh?
It's just a cliche thing. It's not him
I
like,
know,
yeah.
but I'm
Yeah.
saying it's like based off of something Punk has said. So I'm saying like he very easily could have posted that picture and then taken something from something Tony said about the
Like
situation or
elite
something that
combo or elite signing
yeah,
or something.
something where it was a dig at AEW and he didn't. And that's the thing that I've been saying is AEW is not on their mind 24/7 the way WWE is on their mind 24/7. And that's why they find themselves in these types of situations because you just need to focus on your own company, do what you want to do, love what you're doing, and stop worrying about what's going on over there because you're not at that point yet. So it's like that's another prime example. Like Triple H doesn't give a You know, like I
It
don't
is a
care
good
what you
feud.
guys are doing. You know,
That's
um,
what got DX to be the top of the company when they were the stars of the show, and now that they're running it, now they can do what they were doing, but they
mhm.
can have others in their place do it. And he's a guy
So
like that.
before we get to comments, I just want to follow up on the Seth
A lot of
conversation because we
comments.
we
A
got
lot.
yeah because
It
we
is fun
so I
fact: the
just
most views we've had
yes
in the chat when we talk about CM Punk. Just say,
yeah.
just
So I
use
just
that
want
to
to
finish it.
get your thoughts. So what do you so okay? So if we're not sure about Seth and if it was what do they say, a work or a shoot, if we're just getting all
If we're getting
I'm like
jargony,
an internet wrestling fan. um what do you think they like go from here? Because I feel like if that's legitimate, I sympathize with Seth because I can understand why it would be frustrating that you just had this match, you just won this match. Randy just returned after net or back fusion surgery. You have this big moment, and then you're not even told that this dude is coming back, who's been problematic, and he was around the last time he was there, kind of early in Seth's career, but still, I can understand why feeling blindsided would piss you off, but also could be like the most brilliant setup to an inevitable CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. However, I do think it needs to be non-title. But do you think
oh no, yeah,
can't be for the title?
no, you can't put a title on CM Punk right away. That's not why
I
he
don't
brought
think
him
he needs
back,
the
and that's not
title at
why
all.
that's not why he is back.
Yeah.
He's not back for a title. He's just back because he wants to be back. When it comes to Seth Rollins' his outburst, I'll say this is the easiest throw together feud I've ever seen. I mean, what is Seth
Yeah.
doing after this? Nothing really.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
and I mean the way he reacted, the wrestling community and how they want answers immediately, immediate gratification. They want answers of why he did that. So boom, he's on tomorrow night for Raw. Get
Mm-hmm.
that feud going, and then you have a match at Royal Rumble, and then you sell tickets to Royal Rumble. So to me, like this is a feud that you can build up now and actually have it go to Mania. Like in realistically, it could,
Yeah, I was
and have
arguing
the
with
third
someone on
match be a
Twitter about
third
that, but
match
I
be at
just
Mania.
but I just don't want it to be for the title at Mania, because that's the thing is like
Wow.
my argument is that I don't want Punk to be involved in a storyline that has the title, because I feel like that's so much more problematic for him to come in and be immediately thrown into a title feud, because there are other guys that deserve it. Like we were talking about Gunther being, having outgrown the Intercontinental title. So now he can't even go for the world heavyweight because Punk's in the way. Like I
Now,
don't like that idea.
now, Sarah, I'm gonna try to expand your mind here. What if we have them fight for the title at Royal Rumble? Okay, to get the first match out of the way. Okay, that's what to get the first match out of the way. Now, something happened during the men's war game match that could also happen at the Royal Rumble. A nice little cash in.
Yeah.
Seth wins. That's great. Oh, but Damian Priest cashes in. Boom, title. Get the title off of him. Punk and Seth can still feud. No title involved. And then you give Damian the title. He can have a match with either Gunther, Nakamura. I'm just
He
thinking
would have to
spitting ball
turn
names.
babyface though.
I just spit names at people he could. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not really thinking logistically right now. I'm just trying to get to the point where you have Damian go do his own thing with the title, and Judgment Day is still hot because then they have all the gold, and especially with Damian Priest having his world title, Mommy having her world title, it plays more into the who's the leader storyline even more, and you can get a genuine CM Punk Seth Rollins feud where you're not like, oh, it's for the title. They're just doing it to put him a title on. No, it's a legit grudge blood feud that, really could produce some intense promos and even 5-star matches.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just don't want him stepping on toes. Like I don't want guys that have been there. like trying to get their way up to the top and having Punk overtake it just because of who he is. That I think is like a very old school mentality. It's a Vince thing. And I don't feel like Triple H is really in that mindset because he does seem so
So different.
focused on the future. Because it's not like Edge didn't come back, in his little last stint before he left and wasn't going for world titles and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
I mean, he did when he originally came back, but that was 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago. But
That's yeah.
yeah, I think they're in a different spot, which is good. But I'll stop elaborating so we can get to comments.
We have so many comments, and we've
Okay.
also been going on about CM Punk for 30 minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
the dude is just
Well-
like I know your thoughts on him. I fucking love him.
No, but this is the
I
thing.
am obsessed with CM Punk.
Before getting to comments, I'll say it quickly. I said on here, I'm not a Punk fan, and I own it. I've never been a Punk fan. I've always respected what he did in the ring. Didn't
that's
necessarily
different.
respect the stuff he did behind the scenes, but I said I would mark out if I heard that song because that's like one of my favorite songs ever, and so it's like so iconic for him. And so when I heard it, I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God. Like I couldn't believe that it was actually happening. So it was like, even I was sitting there in awe. And it wasn't because I'm like, oh my God, CM Punk, it's like,
oh my God, CM Punk's back. That's incredible.
I was just like, oh wow, it actually happened, and it didn't leak. Like that was the part that was crazy to me. And of course the song. So
do you find it interesting that Living Color remastered the song and then a week later and he used it? He used the remastered version.
I know. And I don't even think it was a week. It was like a day or two before when people realized it. And so they were like, this must be a hint. And then of course people were like, no, like it's not. And then it seems like it might have been, but
no, that was when I saw that, that's where I went more in the gut. He's coming back. Like that's my gut was telling me he's coming back. And my mind was like, no, well, they could just be doing it. It's like, why else is Living Color remastering Cult of Personality? What is why? There's no reason for them to do so. All right, comments because we have so many of them.
Yeah, try to get to as many as you.
David thinks Drew McIntyre is done with WWE.
His contract allegedly runs out like after Mania. He did leave before Punk came out because people were trying to push that he stormed off because of Punk. From the video, that's not true. I really wouldn't be surprised if he is a little bit upset. As I said, I felt like Team Judgment Day should have won, especially with Drew added in there. But I don't know. We'll have to watch that. But
Seth was highly pissed off. Yes,
I think this could be so brilliant if it was like not legit because we all knew about Seth's feelings and he could easily play it off and that could be legit. Like he might have actually felt that way, but he was like, no, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to act my ass off and people are going to think it's real.
And Triple H's golden boy is Seth Rollins.
I know. So that's why another thing that I'm like, I really would like to think he wouldn't screw him over,
No, I think it's best for business. That's all I'm going to say. David, Randy Orton is a legend. I'm not even going to put that comment up there just for that.
So. Hey, Walter, what's up?
Walter says what's up, not only to you, but to the champ, too. Thank you, Walter. Randy Orton. Oh, geez, we're really slow in StreamYard. I don't like this.
I know. It's really, yeah.
I'm getting annoyed. Yeah, they're back. They're back.
They sure are.
Triple H is just amazing to me by doing so much and by doing the unthinkable.
This is the thing that I loved. Okay, so he spoke in the press conference first last night, which I felt was significant because he's usually last. And he didn't. He went first. And I think it was when he was talking about Punk, because of course, like most of the questions that were being asked were about Punk, which were fine. So something that I liked that he said, which we kind of were just talking about this when we put out that clip about DX running WWE now, saying that like part of the decision making behind bringing Punk back was because they're very in tune with what the fans want. And he said, and if the fans want it, we're going to explore it and see if we can get it done. And so he's like, they wanted, this guy back. And we were able to make it happen. And so I think that's something that we've definitely picked up on since Triple H took over, especially like I don't know, probably after Mania this year when he kind of got like full control without Vince over his shoulder, that he does have that different mentality than Vince, who would do things just to spite the fans or just to spite the performer or whatever. And so that was a lot. I felt like that said a lot for Triple H to say that, because he doesn't have to do this
no.
way, especially being so new to the role. He was mentored by Vince McMahon. He could do the stuff that Vince did, and he's like, no, I'm gonna not do it that way. I'm gonna do what the fans want, and that's why they're doing record numbers.
It's literally are. Giving us dream matches, storylines. Philly needs to start. Yeah, start with Seth Nakamura because of the teasing, or Nakamura could be someone else, whatever. And then Randy, why not? Just to give Randy some time. I don't know. I feel like it'd be good. WWE copying Adam Cole and Danielson's debut from the trashy AEW. Yeah, he made. I don't know what it is now with guys that legends are returning in just white t-shirts. Kind of a huge fan of it, to be honest with you, as a fan of white t-shirts.
Maybe it's a symbolic, because it could be like a clean slate. I come with peace and unity, because that's what white can mean. Like, I'm starting fresh.
I don't know that a lot, Sarah.
I don't know if that's significant, but usually that's like kind of what like white will mean,
Yeah.
I'm surrendering
the old me.
Yeah.
Into the new me.
Yeah, this is a new, fresh me. He had a fresh haircut.
He did. I did like that.
So
that was nice.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to be showing up. Entertainment says that Triple H knows what's good, what's best for business.
That's why we were saying the mentality of a person who came up through the business as a wrestler is way different than the mentality of someone who grew up being a booker like Vince McMahon. But for some reason, that video got a lot of hate comments because people were like, Vince was also a wrestler. I'm like, oh, he was a full-time wrestler? He had to come up the same way that Triple H did?
No, Vince's dad refused to let him wrestle.
I know, but
it's like a well-known fact. I know you know that.
Well,
that's not
but then it's like he wrestled during the Attitude Era.
He owned the company by then.
I know. That's why I'm like, why are you calling me the idiot? Like, he was never Triple H. He did not wrestle anywhere. Like, he owned the company and then inserted himself into storylines. Like, what are you talking about? And he was already like 50. Like, stop. Ugh.
It's so funny when people think they know things and don't. I just want Chrome Knuckles back and thinks that Randy should have a world title run. He's in the best shape. Don't care about the Toxic Punk. Maybe we'll get one, but right now it's just not worth it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because he's too away from tying Flair, I think.
Yeah, and for right now, I just want Orton on my TV wrestling in compelling matches with, even more compelling storylines.
Right.
I don't care if a title's involved. Maybe in like a year or two when it shows that he's not, holding on to dear life, coming back from this back fusion surgery or double back fusion surgery, whatever the case was. I just putting a title on him, it's a big ask for anybody.
Yeah.
And it just may not be the right time right now. Maybe like after Mania, once we get into like that part of the wrestling season, sure. But for right now, I like the champions we have and I like the momentum. Mm-hmm. So he also thinks that Seth Punk's would work if it really think Michael Cole would have been the one to separate them. I think differently. I think he plays into the realness that Michael Cole had to step in there.
But did you also see that Cole like threw his pen when Punk's music hit? Like, someone took video of him looking pissed too. So I don't know. This is the thing. Like, is Triple H lying about how many people knew? I mean, it might play well for him to do that because he saw how Seth reacted. Like, it might be better for him to say, oh, only me and Nick Khan knew, and then that way we feel like, wait a second, Seth's reaction, was that real? Was that not? Was it, like, I don't know, because that's what people were saying too. But then when you look at Cole and you look at Graves, they didn't look like they were in the know, and then Cody just like walks away and Sammy's just like confused. Like it's a
Sammy's
lot.
in the poor dog
Yeah.
in there who's just like, I okay. I'm just
He's
happy
like,
in the
this
main
is the
event.
only way for me to exit. I have to go. Yeah. So I don't know. But that's why I'm saying kudos if it's not real.
I think Rhea's
Shame on Triple
reaction.
H if it is real, because he should have just let him know. But
I think Rhea's reaction was
brilliant.
I thought it was brilliant. I don't think it was that real. I think she was just playing into the whole
All she did was go
character.
ha ha ha, like
Yeah,
about
she
like,
knows
oh.
she knows who's around her. She knows that the cameras are never off. I think it was
Yeah.
perfect for her to do the whole mimicking, like,
Yeah.
because I don't really remember Rhea Ripley and CM Punk having any sort of beef
I don't
or
think they were
anything.
around.
So
They weren't around at the same
that's what I'm
time.
saying. They weren't at the same
Yeah.
time. So it's
Yeah.
even I love that.
Yeah.
And then I do want to get this comic book Chrome because this is really I agree with this. CM Punk is back because of AEW, period. WWE doesn't want to say, but they're in a war against a small brand, AEW. Funny how a 5-year-old company can move so many WWE mountains. And I agree, but for different reasoning. I believe CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and all these guys are back because of AEW just being there. There needed to be competition to get the to get things. I'm trying to. Why can't I think of the phrasing? To rejuvenate the competition. It felt like it was very stale. You know, when you're not competing, competition creates the best. Competition creates cash. That's easy. So when you have competition, one going up to another, you put out the best work. You put out the best content. And for me, if AEW wasn't a thing, then we may not have these moments. We may not have Cody Rhodes coming back to WWE right now. So, or even CM Punk. We're staying on topic. Like, it just makes sense. So, like that. And then,
Yeah. I'm.
oh,
I
Gianna
don't even want.
lover.
I don't even want to talk about it yet.
Love
Thank
your guys'
you.
videos. Keep up the great work. Thank
I love your
you.
picture too.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Bray.
R.I.P. Bray.
Makes me sad.
If it is Punk for the world, does he win it? No, I just mentioned. You may have just
I don't.
joined. So
Yeah. I don't think
but
Punk needs to win the Rumble for that. Like that was something that someone said to me, the one I was arguing with, saying Punk should win the Rumble and then he'll face Seth. He doesn't need to win the Rumble to face anybody for the title. It's CM Punk. It's like they're not going to do that with John Cena or Randy Orton. You know what I mean? Like that's not going to happen. I still think that it needs to be Gunther who wins the Rumble, but
Never Give Up is a huge women's wrestling advocate, like we are here, and personally hopes that it leads to AJ Lee at the Rumble. And that's the reason you got into wrestling as well. She had that
that
impact
opens
not
the
on you,
door.
but like Cora Jade, Roxanne, all those stars right now in NXT. It definitely opens the door. I just don't know when she's gonna walk through it.
I really wouldn't be surprised if it's something where it's a one-off for her, because she has been so separated from wrestling for so long, and then she got back involved in it with that one company that I can't remember, the women's company.
Women, yeah, I know what I mean.
But anyway, so I think that Punk returning kind of opens the door a bit more for her, obviously, because they've been married this whole time. They left together, and she basically just followed him because she was married to him.
Served fire papers on their wedding day.
She what? What
CM
happened?
Punk was handed his termination papers on his wedding day.
Well,
AJ Lee.
whatever.
That's
So
tough.
I really wouldn't be surprised if she maybe enters the Rumble. The thing is like, and if that was the only match for her, I think that if that's what they're gonna do, then they have to just be careful, because then there's rumors that like Jade will debut at the Rumble, and again, you don't want to overshadow the people that you're trying to push to be this new stars of your company. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to have Jade debut and this big deal, and then AJ comes out and it's like, oh, everyone forgets about Jade now. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want that to happen. But I would not be mad about that. I wasn't ever like a humongous AJ fan, but obviously I liked her, especially when she was going against the Bellas. So,
I liked AJ when she was going against the Bellas.
oh yeah, that iconic pipe bomb girl serve. It's queen. She was an absolute queen.
Oh, jeez, that's what the sound was.
What?
No, I just got an update on my phone that Scott Hansen and the Red Zone crew are being evacuated from the studio.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Is
know
there any
why.
other comments, or should we move on?
There's so many. I mean, we've been talking about
Oh
CM
yeah,
Punk
and it
now
was
for
wow.
40.
I thought it was
Was
wow, but I
wow.
just didn't want to say if it was wrong.
I mean, yeah, we can move on because we've got to
Okay,
these
we'll come back,
already.
guys. Sorry, we're overwhelmed
We're
with comments, and then
and
then
also
it's all going slow.
it's all going really slow because stupid StreamYard.
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
I just can't believe we talked about. Damn right, baby.
okay. So we'll talk about this first. So R-Truth is back as well, which Triple H was when he was like, all right, let's talk about that big return. He was like, R-Truth is back. Like he was all like before he said anything about Punk. That I okay, so that little infomercial thing, because they were sponsored by Ruffles. First of all, I loved it because Pretty Deadly were in it, and so I was like, yes, boys, because I loved that. But yeah, no, R-Truth showing up, that was awesome because he's been gone for a while too, because he tore his ACL or no, his quad.
Yeah,
In a match against Grayson Waller. So that was really cool. And he's just hilarious. I love R-Truth.
wrestling needs a comedic factor in it at all times. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what the alarm is. Sorry, I have Red Zone on in here, and it's not really loud, but I can just hear a siren. So sorry. Um, R-Truth is the comedic factor that you need in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
There just needs to be a consistent comedic factor throughout a show to break the tension, and that's what a show is. And the way they did it last night with him was incredible in the Ruffles thing. And then did you see the video of him getting down with main event Jey Uso?
Yes, I did. Didn't I send that
Oh
to
my
you?
god.
I think I sent it to you.
You may have, but I was dying at that. Like that
Yeah.
he's so good and he's been around forever.
Yeah.
He has been around. I mean, he was in TNA as Ron the Truth Killings.
Yeah,
An
but then there was
NWA champion.
K Quick. That's who he was first.
Oh,
Getting
you didn't know?
rowdy.
You better ask somebody. The DO G and K Quick get rowdy.
Yes.
Yes, I do have
Iconic.
that song in my playlist.
I
That's an
have
iconic playlist.
the WWF the music with that song on it. So that's how I was
The
listening
CD
to it.
still?
Yeah, I still have it.
Yes. That's incredible.
Then we have Randy Orton, obviously, which we hinted at, and Randy Orton is back and looking jacked, man.
He looks so good, so good.
I mean, it's like people are like Roy's. I'm like, no, guys, he had 18 months off. Like he was able to like consistently do whatever he wanted to do, bulk up, whatever. Like there's a huge difference between working out when you have all the time in the world and trying to get workouts in when you're on the road. You know what I mean? Like,
and going to your home gym and sleeping in your own bed and eating your own meal. Like it's so different.
So I think that the way that they went about his return, it ended up being okay because of what ended up happening with Punk, I guess. But the way they were building it up, it was making it seem like they were digging their own grave, because it was like, okay, you keep teasing like it's going to be Punk, or like Punk is going to be in place of Randy. And that was why all of these people were chanting CM Punk, like even more. But then when he came out, obviously it was amazing. And then that incredible RKO to my poor baby, JD McDonough.
Already historic.
It was great. I think the whole thing, like Cody got emotional. Of course he did, because he's a little sap, my little Cody. Talking about Randy and just like how grateful he was, because I think people forgot that was Cody's first War Games match. So that was like a huge deal for him, obviously, because he never thought he would ever be in a War Games match.
And I thought his dad being the creator of it.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So I thought Randy's return was great. And then as he was leaving, he was yelling to everybody that he was going to be around for 10 more years.
10 more years.
That would be pretty sweet, I would say.
That would be That would be awesome. If we got
Yeah.
10 more years of the Viper, I'm all for it.
And he comes back bald and clean shaven.
Incredible. That also
I'm
means
just
something.
I
That
know.
means
I'm like, what are
something.
we gonna get? Bald Randy? Bald
That's,
heel Randy?
last time we saw Bald Randy Orton, he was a menace to society.
I know, which was phenomenal. So
Oh, I didn't want to say the about the return. I
yeah,
mean, we are gonna talk about it in the women. Well, no. I thought this was fine. Usually you could do. I mean, it's overdone with the, oh, he's not here. He didn't
yeah,
show up, bruh.
yeah.
But the fact that they had Rhea come out to attempt
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
cash in
Mm-hmm.
made it that much better
Yeah.
because you're so focused that that's what they're gonna do is
Mm-hmm.
go for a cash in that thought of Randy Orton leaves for a second. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it was just all to set up a cash in, all this. And then once its music hits, it's at that low, and then it brings you right back.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I loved it in that way. Thank God they did that. Let's just thank God that they almost had a cash in. Because if
Yeah.
not, it would have been Carlito all over again. It's like we're really hyping up and giving Randy Orton the same treatment as Carlito. That's not cool.
Yeah. No, I know.
That's
I
not
thought that
cool.
was like a weird way to go about it, but since they did announce that they're both going to be on Raw, it's really hard to say what they're going to do because I still I still want to see CM Punk versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't care if maybe it doesn't make sense, but like I feel like it does because I liked the idea of people saying like Shinsuke will do an open challenge and like that will be when Punk answers or something. It still goes into what Nakamura was saying because he was like, I'm waiting. I've been waiting for you. Like, when are you gonna get here? Blah blah blah. Like, it still plays into Punk showing up. Because he showed up, walked out, said, hey, 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 and left. It's not like he came out and like attacked somebody and immediately got straight to feuding with somebody. And the same thing with Randy. I mean, Randy, hinted at some sort of animosity, obviously, towards the Usos and towards the bloodline, but didn't act upon it. And then he didn't insert himself into anything either. So there's really like it's all up in the air. And the last time we saw Randy, he was a tag team champion. So like, and that guy's gone. So talking crap online also.
I saw that. Dude, the comments are awesome.
Loser mentality.
Bro,
But anyway,
Punk is undefeated against a drug test. Was my favorite response.
but it's also like it's CM
Yeah.
Punk and you're Matt Riddle, dude. Like I mean,
Dude,
I'm not even a Punk fan, but let's not say you're in the same category. Like they
no.
literally sent you to rehab, brother. Like, but anyway, um, yeah. So I'm excited to see what they do. My only thought is, of course, with Punk, is that I just don't want him to be in the title picture right away. So
Do you think that
if at all,
with the CM Punk and Nakamura, you have Nakamura was in red and all the, means the
mm-hmm.
devil, whatnot. CM Punk came out in
Mm-hmm.
white, pure. I don't know. I'm
I know
reaching, but I
that's
think
what
that's
I
what it
mean. That's
should.
what I'm saying. If there's symbolism, I don't know, but I feel like it would be such a banger, and it would be a really cool way for them to bring Punk back because I think again we are in that mindset because it was what happened all the time when these types of guys would come back that they're going straight for the title. And it would be a nice change of pace for these guys to come back exactly how Cena's been coming back, minus that match with Roman at SummerSlam.
Mhm.
But coming back and like going after these younger guys, like that, I think is more entertaining for people because we are so invested in what the company is right now and where they're going and the future of the company. So we don't need to then like it's not like I mean, it's kind of like taking a step back if you then put it on a guy like Punk or you put it on a guy like Cena because it's like they don't
1,000%.
need that, to be legitimate. But it would be great for Nakamura to go from a feud with Seth to go on to a feud with Punk because
Mhm.
he's kind of been like floating in the water since
Yeah, just
that
treading
match
water.
with Seth. So I would love for them to still do that
Agreed.
if that's the
I
plan.
You need to do. I think you're gonna have CM Punk start Raw. I think that's the smartest thing to do.
I feel like you have to,
And
right?
you need to have him start Raw. Give a little bit of a tease of a pipe bomb, whatever. And I know people are gonna hate this, but you need to have Judgment Day come out. You need to have Judgment Day come out
Try to
and just
recruit him.
ask, huh?
Try to recruit him. Be like the SES.
Try to recruit him,
Yeah,
and then that leads to, you know, maybe a few with Seth and whatnot, because then they're forced to team up or something, and like
maybe
easy, just face all that, just
they can say they're
easy.
the new SES or
That would
Nexus.
be so funny.
Yeah.
And Punk's really known for that, so
Yes.
known for his factions.
Um.
I
So let's
cannot
get on
believe
to.
I can't believe we just wasted an hour.
I'm sorry.
CM
Now
Punk took an hour. A
now we're
fucking hour.
going on to the women's War Games match, which I would say was the match of the night. And I had a feeling that it was going to open the show. I saw some people who were saying that it should have main evented. I don't think that made any sense, but
No.
I mean, I understand the storyline, I guess, was deeper than the men's War Games match, but you just knew like this wasn't a show that they were gonna let the women main event. But
No.
they did way better, in my opinion, than the men in their match. And like I'm just like so impressed with just all of them. Like especially with Charlotte, this was her first one. Shotzi getting her moment time and time again, which was nice. Io
Shot.
jumping off the top in a trash can. Like,
Round two.
girl, like it was just so
And the
good.
way
And
they did it would take that she took the
yes,
you did
with
like a
with
levy.
Dakota.
Like
Yeah.
the little details in the match like that were so much different than the men's. And
Yeah.
that's what made it better, because they made things that wouldn't usually make sense because it's wrestling, it doesn't have to. They made it make sense for the match where you did
Yeah.
not have to use your imagination as much.
And I felt like it just flowed better. Like there wasn't really any dead time in the women's match, but there was in the men's. And I get sometimes that's unavoidable, but it just felt like there wasn't ever a moment where you were like, oh, like, okay, what's going on? Like, what are
What's
they
going on?
doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that was cool. Our prediction came right that Bailey was the one who took the pin. Unfortunately, it wasn't from Shotzi, but it was
I
from
know.
my
I would have liked
queen,
to. I would have liked
Becky.
to see Shotzi get the pin, but it makes sense that Becky
Mm-hmm.
manhandle slammed her through the table,
Yeah.
pinned her.
And
What I want your thoughts on this though.
okay.
Did you notice that? I mean, obviously the digital exclusive interview afterwards, but it felt like Damage Control, the other three, could have saved her. And Kyrie saying there was one moment in the match where it was the final sequence where Bailey like takes the spear for her,
Mm-hmm.
and Kyrie's down but not down. Like
Yeah.
she's like dazed, we'll say. And then she's watching Bailey get annihilated by all four women. Basically, the finish is all that. She, in wrestling logic, she had enough time to get up and make a save. But for story purposes and the way Damage Control is going,
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that on SmackDown, we're going to see some video footage or something that highlights how Kyrie Sane could have saved Bailey and didn't.
It seems like something Bailey would do to defend herself, because I'm sure like it's gonna be a conversation, maybe backstage or in the ring or whatever. It's like, Bailey, like, you lost the match for us, blah 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 blah. But then that could be her way of being like, okay, well, look, you guys didn't even come and stop this or try and like help me. And especially for it to be Kyrie, because she wasn't on board with Kyrie joining. So I think that's a good way to go about starting what we believe is going to be the eventual end of Bailey in Damage Control. I think that would be a more interesting way, because it wasn't just it wasn't just a like cut and dry way for Bailey to lose. You know, it wasn't like, oh, she was trying to do too much and then she got too confident, or like,
Yeah,
oh,
no.
everyone else was, you know, gone. They were all like passed out or something. I'm trying to think of words that I can use. And then Bailey was all by herself and then she just like got outnumbered or whatever. Like there's nothing that you can say it was completely Bailey's fault.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like she has an argument already, you know, and I think that's a more interesting way because I think people will be able to get behind her more. I will miss Bailey being a heel though, because I love it when she's like, you stupid idiot. Like
You
it's so
idiot.
funny. I'm like, can you please still use that when you're a good guy? Because like it's iconic.
I think
You
she
know?
will. She can. And like that's the you take some stuff that you did as a heel and turn into babyface things. I mean, look what The Rock
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he was. But yeah, it was a good
Okay.
match. I have
Should we get to some comments
I did want to
before?
bring this comment. Where'd you go? All right. It's also rumored about Sasha Banks heading back to WWE for
I
Bailey's
know.
babyface storyline. A lot of
Okay.
people talk about this.
Okay.
At this point, nothing's off the table. Go off, Shane.
Okay, I appreciate Sasha Banks. I didn't like her like sinky attitude that she's kind of had, you know, which led to her leaving and whatever, and then kind of just how she is with fans. She's also not the kindest. However, everyone wants to talk about Shawn Michaels being Booker of the Year. If Triple H brings back Randy Orton, CM Punk, Sasha Banks, like among all the other people that are now in WWE getting Jade, you know, like Triple H needs to be in that conversation because that is absolute insanity. And I think it was things that we kind of said, I think when we talked about the possibility of this happening, we said that it seemed like we were moving in that direction because it's Triple H in charge. And now that we know that Vince has kind of been forced out, for the most part, not completely, obviously, but they didn't want him around and he had to sell stock. Well, he's still an owner part is all I mean. He's not completely out. I think the fact that he's now like not around all the time, people like Sasha, people like Punk, or people whoever who had issues with him in the past are going to be more inclined to want to come back. So Triple H might not have to work as hard to get these people back. And we know Sasha is one of Triple H's girls. She was at the Black and Gold era of NXT. And if you want to look at the other three horsewomen on TV every single week, had a huge War Games match. Like they're main eventing SmackDowns and Raw. So it's like Sasha's not going to just come back and be thrown aside or like not valued the way that she was with Naomi before, you know, when they were tag champs. Like to me, I don't know. I would not know how to feel if Sasha came back.
If Sasha Banks comes back, Triple H deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Like seriously, the man going from where the state of the company was a year ago with who charge of it, and now you have him stepping in. It's my time, my game, and bringing back all the stars that could make other companies a little bit more popular, elevate them onto another tier. And you're gonna just say, nope, you're coming back. I got a plan for you. Boom, there you go. Oh, you want to be in this feud or you want to be part of this? Boom, I got you here. Boom, this is the best way to elevate your character and help you out. Like the man, Triple H knows ball. The man knows the business just as well as Vince McMahon did in his time. And you have the added element that Triple H grew up wrestling and grew up training to be a wrestler.
So tapped into what the fans want. That I think is something that's
and one thing
big.
that really stands out to me is Triple H's love for Japanese wrestling. The Joshi.
Yeah, Joshi.
Yeah. Like that is I don't care if it's, you know, just a little tidbit. It's little things like that that show how in tune he is with the wrestling community and the fans to want to bring them over, and the fact that you can do that, and they're in talks right now to get Julia, like the hottest star in New Japan.
Mhm.
And before I'd be like, well, they won't use her correctly, whatnot. I disagree with that now because of who's in charge. It's
Yeah.
a whole different. It is wrestling now. You have to think differently because of who is in charge. And
Mhm.
it's so hard for us as wrestling fans to get into that mindset because of the brainwashing we've gone through over the years with Vince McMahon. Now
Yeah.
you have Triple H
Yeah.
involved. It's a whole different game because anything is possible. Literally
Mhm.
anything is possible. See a Punk came back last night. It is
Yeah.
2023. Like, come on. It's
I
insane.
agree. Um so I'm going to skip over that one topic because it's fine.
Which topic? Oh, okay,
Becky and
okay,
Charlotte.
okay.
So then we also had Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark, and this match I feel like delivered exactly what we all wanted. I think that they could definitely get like a round 2.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that it wasn't exact like their best, but I think it was still a great match, and it showed you that they're both stars in this company. Rhea Ripley, dude. I don't want to overlook Zoe, but oh my god, Rhea, like
She has
it.
it. She has it.
That's what Triple H said too in the press conference. And what's crazy to me is like the evolution of Rhea. Like, thank God for Judgment Day, because that really is what awoke who Rhea could be. And I feel like it's very much like what happened with Damien. The whole group, Damien, Finn, Dominic, like the entire group, Judgment Day came about at the exact time and has blown up into exactly what they all needed it to be, because now I feel like we're seeing the best versions of all of them. And it's obviously we have a lot more time with Dominic and Rhea because they are so young compared to Damien and Finn. But man, Rhea, I'm just glad that she had like such a good match with Zoe, and I'm glad that Zoe had such a good match too, because she didn't have a feud really up until this, because she just won a battle royal. But people have such an issue with Rhea's title reign, so I'm just glad that she did have like a killer match, and she looked bomb
Oh my
AF.
god, she looks so
She
hot.
looked so
Oh
gorgeous.
my
I was like, girl,
god.
like everyone was drooling on Twitter. It was so funny. There was like people like, how does someone look so good? Like how can a human look like that? I'm like,
It's
I don't get it either. It's
I
unfair.
she's mommy for a reason.
Yes.
And that's the thing that was really kind of holding down her title reign in a way is she was having these matches, but they were just matches,
Mm.
Selena Vega, Natalia. I'm forgetting one, obviously more recent. I mean Raquel Rodriguez, like sure, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not one where you're excited about or you think
Yeah.
it's gonna go so well.
Yeah.
Um, I love this match because it elevates Zoe Stark into that the championship picture where she
Mm-hmm.
can hang. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, it may not have been their best match they could have together, but for a good feud, you want to have a trilogy of matches, and
Yeah.
you could have this little feud be a bit of a trilogy. I mean, she's already in Rhea's head with the whole backstage segment invading the Judgment Day clubhouse. You get Shayna in your corner too. There's not really any other person that I would want to see Rhea go up against right now that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was like she didn't dominate her in the win, and it's just I think you can do something with it. So
Yeah. No, I agree. I was pleased and I wouldn't be mad about seeing it again, but it would have to be a match on Raw since we have 9 weeks until the Royal Rumble. Um so we're going to have to wait, but I would be okay with that.
$2 from Mr. Oh, there it is. Okay,
Sorry,
Mr.
I'm trying
Nope,
to. Okay, stop.
Hammer Time.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Anderson with a $2
Thank you.
dono saying thanks to the rated R superstar for Judgment Day.
Yes, very true. It was the best decision to kick him out as a leader.
It was the best decision to kick him
Yeah.
out. It's as tough as that sounds for Edge, but the way it's gone with the superstars that are in it right now, I mean, Edge just would seem so out of place and just take them in a
And it was
direction that is not this era.
Finn needed it so much more.
Oh,
Finn
so
needed
much
it.
more.
So
So much more.
that's the thing. Why isn't that more of an argument for Finn to be the leader? Finn is the one that helped take down Edge
I don't think Finn
to
wants to be
replace
the leader.
him.
I don't think it's not Finn's role. Finn's role is the dude who
Stop it.
just is that.
No.
What?
He could be a
Yes.
leader.
No, he's not. He could be a leader, but you don't throw him into the Judgment Day dynamic of leader. I mean, he's the guy that he's like the I don't want to call him Robin, but like he's the one that fought for JD to get in there. And then he got JD in there from like he's that guy, the recruiter.
Yeah, but he
That's his role.
also
He's the
had the Bullet
recruiter.
Club. Like, let's not forget that.
Was he a leader of the Bullet Club?
Yeah.
I thought he was in the era of like Kenny Omega. Never mind.
No, he
Whatever.
started it. What? Oh my god.
He didn't start. Okay, I'm looking this up afterwards.
Okay. And the last little bit I wanted to get into was The Miz versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, which King won, retained. Okay. Really good match. I got nervous at a few points because I wasn't 100% confident going into this match that Gunther was going to come out the champion, because so many people were like, he needs to not be champion. And then he's talking about how he's outgrown the title, blah, blah, blah. And even though I believed in my ring general, I was like, oh God, I'm nervous. Like this, whatever. But what I think stood out in this match was The Miz resorting to cheating. So he took off the top cushion of the turnbuckle and did what was it? It was two low blows, right? Like one was kind of like a miss, kind of.
He hit them in the knee, and they kind of shrugged it off like it wasn't supposed to be a low blow, but yeah.
Yeah, but then the next one I think was. Okay. But to me, I thought that was interesting because I get it, when we talked about it a little bit before we went live, like, yeah, it's something that The Miz would do. That's something he was known for, whatever. But to me, it was like, he's so freshly a baby face that to me, it was like, whoa, like that I felt like was a little weird because like, you shouldn't, that's such a heel thing to do. Like, I get it. People hate Gunther, and especially because he was like calling wrestling fans that were kids a weirdo and whatever.
That was so funny.
But I just felt like that was such a weird way to try and get him to win. Like, I felt like that was a weird,
to me,
a weird moment.
Not. See, I think of it as, The Miz is, and I'm not comparing him to this, but like a Ric Flair-esque, where he's going to do whatever he takes to win. The dirty player. Mm-hmm. He's a face now because he's over with the crowd and the ways the cutting promos and all that, but you're not going to just forget your heel tactics when you become a face. You evolve with it. And the fans want to see Gunther lose. Like, at this point, it's about, not us, Sarah, the idiot peeps. All right.
Well, not the idiot peeps, the non supporters of Imperium.
Idiots.
I don't want to say that they're idiots because there's probably people in here who don't like them. They don't have to.
Well, I mean,
technically they're not supposed to.
The champ likes Gunther and Imperium.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
Don't go against the champ. Okay. And it's idiotic to hate on Gunther, but the normal, the casual fan, average fan does. And you want to see a guy like The Miz win because it's a legit threat. And when The Miz resorts to that, he usually wins and gets his way. Then for him to not get his way and have Gunther still win. And I like the fact that Gunther won with a simple Boston crab.
I know, but then he did the knee on the head.
Oh yeah, he went full knee back. Terrible.
I loved that.
But I loved it for the fact that with Gunther, he doesn't have a move, like a finishing move that
Yeah.
ends it. He has like 5 of them in his arsenal that he can
Yeah.
use, which makes him
Yeah.
that much more of a deadly champion, which makes him even stronger as a whole. Where you're like, I don't know if this man could ever lose. And if he's beating The Miz, who could have tied Chris Jericho's record last night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all this what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I want to say legacy, but his, his track record.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's going to lose because The Miz doesn't lose in those types of matches, but he lost, so that elevates Gunther more. So
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I love that The Miz is still cheating, even if he is a face, because that's what The Miz is.
Yeah.
The Miz does whatever he wants, and he's awesome.
I'm glad that it was a good match. I think people mostly expected it to be a good match. I'm curious to see where he goes next because Gunther was a part of the press conference last night.
Shout out Chris Van Fleet.
I know. I was excited. I was like, "Hey,
You know him.
not that he knows who I am, but
One day he will. He'll know who we are
he
soon.
follows me, but it's not like he knows me because he follows like a bunch of people. But anyway,
follow the champ.
he was asked like who was next or whatever, and he just basically, this is why he's so iconic to me, because he like does not give a crap. He was just like, I don't know, whoever is deserving of it, like whoever wants to have a match for the title, like he does not care. Like I get it, he's not gonna just like name drop people because he doesn't necessarily know what the plans are, maybe,
Mhm.
But I love that like he's just like doesn't care. It's just like, I don't know, if there's anyone that's worthy of stepping up, then like maybe them. So I'm excited to see like what happens with him because I'm obsessed. So
I'm sorry. I'm listening, but I just this comment. Whoever 202 degree is, you're a fucking peep, man. I gotta tell you. I don't know, Sarah. Watch NXT, but Lexus King fits Judgment Day, the former Brian Pillman. If you didn't know already, Sarah. I'm sorry. I want to give you.
I did.
I know you know. Yeah.
I have enjoyed it.
He hates his father too.
Yeah, Christian.
Both of them hate their father. He would be great in the patriarchy.
He would, yeah. Why is he not with Christian right now? Yeah, no, that would be really interesting. I think if the Judgment Day stayed together for a while, I would love that. I think that they're gonna keep Lexus down there for a bit though.
And then this is the real comment that brings it full circle to why I even introduced 202 right now in the first place, is because he brought up this potential match, which I feel like you'd agree with this. Bash at Berlin.
That would be sick.
I feel like that's what we're getting at.
Dude,
I think that's just an easy fish in a barrel.
All of these Europeans that are going to be coming up to the main roster is just going to make my head's going to explode. I'm going to have way too many people to be cheering for.
European wrestling
is my favorite.
The best friend.
I'm
a sucker for Lucha's Lucha, Japan, European top 3. Easily.
European is like my number 1. Yeah.
Number 1, you'd say?
I think so. Because like when I look at like I don't know, like at some of my, I mean, not all of them are European, but like I always enjoyed Cesaro also. I guess maybe, Finn is one of my favorites. Like I know he's different, but I seem to gravitate towards pretty deadly, like European guys. So, but then I also have a big old crush on Dragon Lee. So
Lucha Libre style, I would say, has to be my favorite for the sheer fact that some of the shit that they pull off, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. Yeah. I don't care if about the high flying, it's so spotty and whatnot. No, that is unbelievable. That is what wrestling is.
But like
it is.
Sometimes it can be like that, but I feel like, if we're going to talk about Dragon Lee, who faced Santos at Survivor Series, or even his matches on SmackDown recently against Axiom and stuff, Dragon Lee's stuff, like the spots that he takes, it doesn't feel like, oh, look what I can do, like that's it, like flows and it makes sense with what he's doing. It's not one of those matches where you can tell that some guy is just trying to show off the whole time and like trying to show you everything that he has in his arsenal, so you're like, okay, cool, you're doing a flip for no reason now, like, no, he's actually incorporating all of this into like what's happening. It's not just like, oh, here's another suicide dive, like, okay,
Have you seen,
and it's like
Commander in AEW?
No.
Commander's another luchador, but he walks on the ropes. It's still unbelievably cool. Not knocking it at all, but
Yeah.
when you think of like, oh, this is a spot and they're
Yeah.
gathering, like he walks on the ropes like a tightrope and then just springboards off it and does a moonsault like 50,000 feet in the air. It feels like that's cool, but again, that doesn't really. It's not entangled. Where's Apollo
202
Crews?
says, "Where's Apollo Crews?" I don't know, but he should be on TV because him versus Dragon Lee would be iconic, just like it is with Cedric Alexander.
Patty Pitts on the ball.
Shout out to all of you guys today. We had so many of you in here today. I appreciate all of your comments. This is by far the most comments we have ever had. So thank you. We really appreciate it. And we're definitely going to I also want to make sure I put this up because 202 said that Piper Niven is very underrated. I honestly believe Sarah forgot about that. No, I shout out Piper Niven all the time. Don't you worry about it.
We stand.
Yeah, no, we
Piper
love
Niven
her
here.
and Chelsea together. It's like some of our favorite stuff on Raw every single week, literally, like every single week. I'm trying to get rid of this comment, but it's freezing. So
I got you.
Okay.
And you can, if you want to hear us talk about Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, Raw Rewind every Tuesday, 6:00 on this YouTube channel, breaking down Raw. That'll be the next time we're live. And in the meantime, go check out all our videos in the archives. All right, we're pushing up that ladder. We have, last I checked, or you told me, we had 1259 subscribers.
1271.
No way, that's a lot. That's a big upgrade. 1271. Help us get to 1300. You know, that'd be a great goal to get to before Christmas. That'd be a nice Christmas gift to the champ and the best of the West. So go help us achieve that. Leave your comments. We love your comments. If I don't see them initially, Sarah sends them over. We really appreciate it. Even if we don't agree, we love the
as long as you're polite, because some of them are nasty.
Yeah, just don't be a dick.
Yeah,
just don't be a dick. If you want to disagree with us, fine, but just leave it at the point. All right? Because you start name calling, I start name calling harder, and you just don't want that. You don't want to get in a promo battle with the champ of the peeps or the best of the West, because you got some mic skills on you as well. And to go check out all our other stuff where we let our thoughts be known. Link in description for all our social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Go check that out, and then we'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind at 6 p.m. Until then, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. And remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We'll see you on Tuesday. Yeah! CM Punk. See